We all talk about the cloud, like it's this magical, invisible thing, right? But it's not. It's a real, physical place, a fortress of humming servers and blinking lights that holds our entire digital world. And when things go wrong in that fortress, believe me, the chaos is very, very real. Today we're going inside the emergency plan.
So let's just start with the most basic question. When you upload a photo, when you send an email, where does that stuff actually go? Where is the cloud?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple and surprisingly solid. It is not in the sky. It lives in a box, or more accurately, thousands and thousands of boxes, all humming away inside these massive, hyper-secure, climate-controlled buildings we call data centers.
And here's the thing about physical boxes. They can break. They can overheat. They can lose power. They can face a security threat. So today, we are pulling back the curtain on the emergency procedures. This is the plan for when the cloud crashes.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We've got 4 key scenarios to walk through. First, we're going to see why a giant 50-page binder is totally useless in a crisis. Then, we'll tackle the wild paradox of fighting fire without, drowning the data. After that, we'll look at the run, hide, fight protocol inside one of these fortresses. And finally, we'll get into a really fascinating security dilemma: fail-safe versus fail-secure.
Let's get right into it. Section 1. From novel to action card. Because let's be honest, when the alarms are blaring and your heart's pounding, the last thing you're going to do is sit down for a little light reading.
And our source material says it perfectly. In a crisis, nobody reads a 50-page binder. It's human nature, right? Under that kind of pressure, our brains just aren't built to process pages and pages of dense text. A plan you can't actually use is no plan at all.
So what's the solution? You ditch what they call the novel, that huge, dense binder that's probably collecting dust in a drawer somewhere, and you replace it with the action card. We're talking one single, laminated page. It's a simple flowchart with crystal clear instructions designed to be understood in seconds.
And the beauty of it is its simplicity. It all boils down to this one elegant format. If this specific thing is happening, then you do this specific thing. If the fire alarm goes off, then you call 911. It cuts right through the panic and tells you exactly what to do.
Now let's move on to our next scenario, which is our real head-scratcher. Section 2, fire versus water. Okay, so fire is pretty much the #1 physical threat to any data center. But what's the #1 thing we use to fight fire? Water. And what's the #1 enemy of a server? Water. You see the problem.
The first line of defense is actually this amazing piece of technology called Vesta. The best way to think about it is like a super sensitive nose for the entire building. It's not just a smoke detector. It's constantly sniffing the air, sampling it for microscopic particles that come off a single wire that's starting to overheat hours before it would ever turn into a real fire.
And that's the whole point, right? The best way to fight a fire is to stop it before it even starts. Vesta gives the crew a heads up so they can find that one little smoldering component and fix it long before you'd ever need a single drop of water from the sprinklers.
But what if prevention fails? What if a real fire actually breaks out and you have to use the sprinklers? How do you do that without risking a massive flood from, say, a burst pipe or someone accidentally setting it off?
The answer is this brilliant setup called a double interlock pre-action system. It's kind of like needing 2 keys to launch a missile. See, the pipes overhead are normally filled with just air, not water. For water to come out, 2 different things have to happen. First, a smoke detector has to go off. That trips a valve and fills the pipes with water. But that's not enough. Second, the heat from an actual real fire has to be intense enough to physically melt the little glass bulb on a sprinkler head. You need both the electronic signal and the physical heat. No accident.
Okay, so we've dealt with system failures. But what happens when the threat isn't fire or water, but a person? That brings us to Section 3, run, hide, fight. This is the universal protocol for an active threat, but adapted for this unique steel fortress environment.
Now, you've probably heard of this before. The protocol is simple, and it's in a very specific order for a reason. First and foremost, if you have a clear, safe path out, you run. Get out of there. If you can't get out, you hide. Find a secure place, lock it, barricade it. And only as an absolute last resort, when your life is in immediate danger, do you fight back.
But here's what's so fascinating. A data center is, ironically, a pretty great place to have to hide.
All the things designed to keep bad guys out, we're talking heavy steel doors, no windows, secure rooms called Montraps, they all suddenly become these incredible, hardened safe rooms during a lockdown.
And that leads us perfectly into our final, and maybe most thought-provoking section, fail-safe versus fail-secure. It all comes down to one simple but absolutely critical question. When the power goes out, what should a high-security door do? Open or stay locked?
You really only have two philosophies here. On one hand, you have fail-safe. This is all about protecting people. It needs power to lock the door, so if the power gets cut, the door unlocks. Think of any emergency exit you've ever used. On the flip side, you have fail-secure. This is all about protecting the assets. It needs power to unlock the door, so if the power gets cut, that door stays locked. Think of a bank vault.
And this is the crucial, gut-wrenching choice security engineers have to make for every single door in the building. Is its main job to protect the people inside by letting them get out? Or is it to protect the priceless data they're guarding by staying locked no matter what?
So this is it. This is the hidden world of planning that keeps our digital lives online. A world of simple action cards, super sensitive sniffing systems, and life-or-death decisions about how a simple lock should work in a crisis. We trust these systems with our data and with people's lives every single day. And that leaves us with one final, sobering thought. What happens when the next crisis is something no one has ever planned for?